hand them to that, please.
Beautiful. Welcome, CJ. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I thought you were volunteering. CJ, do you want to introduce your partner? Speak up a little bit so folks in the back can hear you.
I'm CJ, this is Miss Rosie. We had like the same idea of adjustment. The main thing she was talking about that everybody needed when they were in school. So when they get out of school, it doesn't depend on whether they're college or pursue their career, that they have like the foundation to get there.
Excellent. Thank you. Who wants to go next? One pair. One more. Good, thank you. Loudly so we can hear you. Should we-
Okay, what we going on? After I said who I was, everyone, we're from Pittsburgh, we're Education Rights Law, Education Rights Network. Our goal as a network is to make sure parents are informed of the rights to special education. Along with that are unified school program, okay?
What makes a just school?
What I had shared, and I hope I'll be touching on goal, is that our goal is to train parents to be informed consumers of what they need to know in regards to their rights. And along with that, every student gets the service, the resources that they need to be one well-rounded person, and that they that the school and the community and the parents work together for the fulfillment of the child's life. Okay?
Thank you very much.
And I would say we have Melody. She's working with the Prisoner Pipeline. She's from Atlanta. We also have Nanny, and she's working with Nanny. Nanny is working on getting the parents and teachers and the children together. Get the parents and teachers. Lauren is from Chicago, Boston, but she's too late. They were just in beyond. This is my sister Robin, and my sister-in-law, and my husband sister over there. And we had
Thank you. Well, welcome all of you again. Thank you so much for doing those brief introductions. Let me just talk through logistics very quickly. So there is still food, a lot of food, okay? So I want you to come along with us on this journey. I'm very, very excited that you are here, Village Parker. I'm very, very excited to see so many of our grantee partners in the room. The Community for Just Schools Fund is a national philanthropy, and we have the great honor and privilege of supporting so many of you in this room, but grassroots organizers who are really working for change in their schools, working to ensure that young people have access to educational opportunity and therefore have access to life opportunities so that this nation can win. Because I will tell you, if we continue to marginalize Black and brown children the way that we are doing as a nation, we will continue to fail as a nation on every global measure. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing that now. And we haven't had a real conversation about race and racism in this country. And it has not allowed us then to see real wins. You all have brought about victories, huge victories, policy wins at every level, local, state, national. And we still continue to see huge racial disparities in school suspensions, huge disparities in the number of children who are arrested out of school, brutally arrested out of school by school resource officers, police officers in schools, for things like talking back to a teacher, wrong school, school uniform violations, not putting a cell phone away. These are not actual criminal activities on the street. I couldn't be arrested on the street for not putting my cell phone away. And yet young people, only Black and brown, are being arrested for these kinds of things in school. So how do you really make sure that schools are sanctuary? For all young people, we've got to talk about race. We've got to talk about racism. We've got to talk about it in a way that centers young people of color, and that centers your work, the organizers' work, in building a better future. So thank you. I'm very, very grateful to all of you for being here for this conversation today. Let me just ask you, please, to tweet. I'm looking at Dina, who I know is tweeting right now. So this is not a place where we will be offended by you having your phone or your computer out. Okay, let's tweet. We got to get this out there. Okay, we got to build public understanding, public will for this. This is a project that the Communities for Just Schools Fund is launching together with several of our grantee partners in places like New Orleans, like Raleigh, North Carolina, like Denver, Colorado. So this will happen all over the country starting early 2018. And this New Orleans, as you all know, is ground zero for so much. And it is fitting that we are starting here in New Orleans today. So welcome again. Make sure that you're tweeting, and I wrote down the hashtags so that I would not forget. So follow the Communities for Just Schools Fund at Just Schools. Follow the Dignity in Schools campaign at Dignity in School. And then use the hashtag Critical Conversation and the hashtag DSCWOA 2017 for the DSC Week of Action 2017. DSCWOA 2017. Okay, so that's DSC Week of Action 2017. Use those hashtags as you're tweeting and in social media so that we can really build the voice, build the platform for this ongoing and necessary conversation on race and education. Okay? Critical conversation. Wait, no, I'm wrong. Classrooms rising. Classrooms rising. I totally made that one up. Don't ignore me on that one. Classrooms rising. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce my friend, my colleague, my partner in crime, Marlene Tillman, and partner in crime for many of you, Marlene Tillman from Gwinnett Stop in Gwinnett County, Georgia, to talk about the DSC. Who are we? DSC! Who are we? DSC! Who are we? DSC! All right, now, let's get this party started. As Allison said, I am Marlene Tillman, the co-founder and executive director of the Gwinnett Parent Coalition to Dismantle the School-to-Prison Pipeline, or Gwinnett STOP. And I love saying the longer name because our superintendent hates it. So I always have to put it out there. And Dignity in Schools campaign is represented in all across this country, in 28 states, over 100 organizations. And I just want to give us a little feel of who's in the room. And I'm going to start with repping my own organization, of Gwinnett Stop. And we are so proud of some of the wins we've gotten recently in ending the contact quota for police in schools and reducing the number of infractions that could get a student interaction with the police by 33%. Huge. And you know, with victories come the challenges of now the whole staff has flipped out in student discipline, and we get to start that all over again. And it only took like 8 years to get that. So those are the things that we face within Georgia and across this country. Because what happens here, what happens in Georgia is happening everywhere. And we've got to change those dynamics. So I'm going to just ask for a little grace and for y'all to follow along, all these little kitties in the room. When I call out your state, I need you to stand up and we're going to represent. So from Mississippi, we got Activists with a Purpose, we got Citizens for a Better Greenville,
Action Committee and Education Reform, Sunflower County Parents and Students Organization. I don't see nobody standing. One of the things that I love about the Mississippi Coalition, besides their cheer, is the thing that stuck out with me was their Missing in Action campaign, where they called everybody out for who's not on their job. That included the parents, the community, the school staff. That was everybody. If you're not there representing a child, you're missing in action. So let's move it on to Minnesota. The Solutions Not Suspensions Coalition, and I don't see nobody standing again. And so Minnesota has been leading that way and trying to figure out what are we going to do instead of kicking our kids out of school. And they've been pushing the moratorium on suspensions as well. Moving on to North Carolina, we have Blue Ribbon Youth Leadership Institute, Education Justice Alliance. All right. And so I've known Letha for a long time. And I'm gonna just say they've been kicking butt in North Carolina all day long. And then we got Ohio, Racial Justice Now. And so RJN has really been out there pushing the envelope and leading the way, in particular for DSC, in their culturally competent, culturally relevant, and responsive curriculum. They've also been working on the moratorium for suspensions, and I think you all got one for some of the grade sets. So holding it down, again, we're holding it down. And then we're going to move on to Pennsylvania, Education Rights Network. Right. And I just want to say that they are crushing it in Pittsburgh for their pre-K to fifth grade suspension ban, and they're also in the implementation phase of 5 new community schools. Wow. And so on to Virginia, I vote for me. Get up. I don't think they're here yet. Oh, they haven't made it yet. So we're going to rest. And they've been instrumental in holding their Virginia school boards accountable and making sure that children of color are represented and students with disabilities are represented in every conversation. And moving on to Massachusetts, Youth on Board and B-Sound. What did you say? If y'all want to meet some powerful young people, they've been up there doing. They had to walk out of school. They don't like it, they walk out. All right. Moving on down to New Jersey, Patterson Education Fund and Parent Organizing. Parent Education Organizing Council. I can't read, I don't have English. And so they have been working towards graduating every child, and they are most proud of their suspension ban on K through 2 grades. That's huge. That's huge. Well, moving on to Michigan, DWH Inspires, Student Advocacy Center in Michigan. I'm going to say another group of powerful young people. And then we're going to move on to Illinois, Kofi Power Pack, Women of God for God, Moms Rising. And so Kofi just did a Know Your Rights session on police and schools, and they're getting ready to follow up with the police and sit down and let them know they know their rights. So we're moving on down to to our local organizations who are present. Of course, our host organization, Family and Friends of Louisiana's Incarcerated Children, FLIP. Say that in this room we have a lot of knowledge, we have a lot of capacity, and we have heart. And you need to have heart to be in this work. You need to do it, have heart to do it well. And I think we all genuinely care about this issue. We care about each other, and it's going to carry forward to the work we do. And I want to thank you all so very much. And let's end this right. Who are we? Yes! Right now.
All right, and now I will introduce Ashana Bigard and Antonio Travis from Black Men Rising. And
We got partners for this. You got partners for. We introduce our colleagues here. They're here. Partners for Makeda and Sophia. Oh my God.
So good morning, y'all. I'm sorry Antonio is not here, but that's because, he didn't bring his clothes. But we're going to forgive him. We're going to have to make it up later on. I am here to introduce, of course, New Orleans to you. I hope you had fun. But first, I'm going to bring up, to start this morning off, we thought it was really important that we put this conversation into context. And in New Orleans, it's true, they say if the rest of the country has a cold, New Orleans has pneumonia. That's the truth. But it's also true, just as strong as all of the isms are and the problems, we also have that strong resistance here.
All right. Yeah. That's right.
And so we have some culture bearers in the room, and I'm about to call up the first one, Miss Wendy O'Neill Moore, who is going to, well, she's going to bring Wendy, so. And then we'll be followed by some drummers. She's going to talk to us a little bit about what she's going to do and sing for us. And I was just excited to have her come on. Thank you, Ms. Wendy, and it'll be followed by the drummers who are also going to talk to us. So I'm really excited. So, Ms. Wendy, whenever you're ready.
Oh, freedom! normalizing white terror,
Come on.
white terrorism. You know, there's just a tremendous backlash after after enslavement, after the advances that were made during Reconstruction. Thank you. You know, and once you had to pay for black people's labor.
Come on. Come on. Yeah, that's it.
There was just a tremendous terrorism. Yes. Trying to intimidate people to not fight.
Yeah.
So so black men walked through the streets of Atlanta carrying shotguns.
Yeah, tell that
Singing
part.
this song. Yeah. So that song is not just about people living through enslavement on a plantation. That song is about people who had freed themselves from bondage, proclaiming out loud in public, in the open, we will not go back. And so I say that it's hard for me to imagine people right now walking through the streets of New Orleans singing, "Oh Freedom." How radical would that be? If we, right now, today, were to sing, "No policing, no policing, no rain, no fire, no fire, it don't stop. That sound, this practice, I didn't make this up. Come on. And I'm in a church, but I wasn't raised in a church. I was raised in a movement. Come on. And I just want to impress that this is something I learned from my grandmothers, from my father. This way of congregational singing is an organizing tool, a resource to tap into an unlimited energy source, unlimited power to feel our collective voice. You know what I'm saying? So we can take any of these songs, and it's something I have when I wake up in the morning. And any of us can raise it. And I take these songs and I just make them mean what I need them to mean. When I need it. So I also like that one. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. On my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way. On my way to freedom land. big freedom singers. The Congress of Racial Equality was very active here in New Orleans. Many of the people who staffed the national offices and the national work of Freedom Summer, many of the voting rights activities, the Freedom Rides, come out of New Orleans. And many of them are alive and fighting right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of the folks who I come from are in Selma, Alabama. Honey, man. You know that the 21st Century Youth Leadership Movement. And they say this chant. And when I learned it, you could be 6 leading this chant. You know, or you could be old like me and hard to stand up and lead this chant. So just give it back to me the way I give it to you. Yes? Okay. We will start over if I don't feel it. Because it's not just about being cute. It's about charging the air with your belief. Right. Because sometimes that's all you have to eat. And you have to generate energy. You have to grow it. And you have to make ways to connect with unending resources. Yes. Unending. You ready?
Ready?
I am. That's good. I am a 21st century leader. I must prepare myself to be the very best that I can be. I must prepare my mind and my body and my spirit and my spirit in the light of love and peace
don't know if we can follow Sister Wendy.
Yes, you can. We all right.
We actually grew up together in a black conscious society called Wasset. Started in Tremaine. Me and Wendy, so we knew each other way back, like 20 years. My name is Imhotep. I'm from New Orleans, but I actually live in Asheville, North Carolina. I've been there since Katrina, because I have never came back. So I'm here on my birthday Saturday. I'm here just to see my family, just come back to the spot, the real spot, on the planet Earth, for real. But we can't end this, but I'm talking about the importance of drumming in New Orleans. So we got to go to the streets of New Orleans. Looney Man. We got to do some second line, but we got to do some, we got to do the Indians, right? We got you.
Come on, Jerry.
The drums of New Orleans come from the beautiful culture of Mighty White Indians. There's one of them. I'm one of them. I marched in parades with a drum for 10 hours behind Mighty White Indians. We started across the river. I was driving with the wild renegade hunters. So we started across the river. And walk over to GNO to get to this side. So we do it like that. All day. All day. The best pilgrimage you'll ever have. Come to New Orleans and walk behind a chief, a big chief. Super Sunday. Mighty White Day. That's us. So I saw him, I said, you gotta do it that way. Because that's where I came from last 12 years. I have missed being here. So every time I come here like, dude, I gotta see it. I gotta see where it's at. And it has evolved. It's reached a new paradigm. Right after Katrina, people sort of recognize who make these beautiful suits. Made with small beads, take a whole year to make. Guys do this. Families do this. Communities do this. And then you spread throughout every aspect. Our culture need to go everywhere. They oh, you're only in North. No, the world need us. Not right now. Especially culture-wise. To get everybody from sitting down, looking at the TV, and talking, y'all need to dance and sing. And then you need to happen in your communities. Why? The only thing you don't know is because New Orleans, you like sit down like, man, I get drunk. They outside the dojo, walking down the streets. The party started at any time. That need to happen on the planet Earth. I can see it. The whole planet. To raise your energy up. They say, raise your spiritual energy up to another level. That's where we gotta go. But for a 50-year-old man, I am so happy to see so many beautiful people talking about changing and bettering your own kids' education. Please do that. Lord, the kids, I complained, I quit. I went to school down the street. At 10, I quit. Like, dude, I can't do this. We don't need 10 security guards here. We don't need dudes walking through the hallway, 30 dudes walking through the hallway all day. They ain't even going to school. We don't need that. And I was in the band, like, yo, I'm trying to join this band. Too much violence at school. That was in 1982. Like, what are y'all doing? And why are adults not allowing this to happen? Something's wrong with the adults. The school down the street, full shade, didn't even have books. They was in school for years with no books. Please, beautiful adults, y'all got it. Change it. And it's for your future, your babies that you look at, and the ones you're no more, that's for them. We should do it now so they could like, man, my parents were down. My parents took care of me. We must look for the future. It's now, so we are the future. So we doing it 30 years, so we can do it 30 years later. But let's go to New Orleans, dude, man.
The song I'm gonna sing for y'all is called Shoe Fly Don't Bother Me. And the song means when the slaves used to be in cotton fields, they'll holler, shoe, don't you bother me. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Hooray, that morning, everybody shout. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Hooray, that morning, everybody sing. We're the mic right here, gonna make it break. Say, I don't know what it told. Say something like I like to roll. I remember that morning,
for everybody who's not from the city. I'm happy that y'all here. I love my DSC family and everybody else from the community. Thank y'all for coming out. If you don't know me, my name is Antonio Travis. I'm here with families and friends of Louisiana's Incarcerated Children, the Black Man Rising Movement, National Dignity in Schools campaign. And I just wanted to say, man, when we talk about culture, man, we talk about community, right? That's the prime example of culture. He spoke to what our ancestors was doing when they was picking cotton. So our music is our culture. And y'all just got a prime example of that right there. So when you hear music and you hear culture, man, from every community, that's our culture. Welcome to the real New Orleans, y'all. Thank y'all, man.
So we want to segue. So first, real quickly, I want to say the reason this was so important that we bring this to you because in all of that is resistance.
That's right.
This is how we resist, and sometimes we forget. We don't have people write books to tell us how to organize and resist. The power is here, it's inside of us, right? And so when Wendy talked about bringing that energy, that force, like you can feel it, the air is different now. We have charged the air. So we want to remind you of that. But also just remember it's a powerful tool and sometimes it is co-opted. So we can't even pass judgment because a lot of times I know as a mother I'll pass judgment on the music my daughter listens to, but I remember when they made 911 as a joke, Public Enemy, and it changed the way they responded to people in the hood. It changed the way they responded to people in the hood. So we know we have to remember our power, the power of music, the power of culture, what we own, what we bring. So the other thing New Orleans is famous for, well, we're famous for a lot of things, is we have something called social aid and pleasure clubs. Now a lot of times people forget about the social aid part, which comes first. But it did start off as social aid and pleasure. And the reason it was social aid is because black folks wasn't allowed a lot of times to get insurance back in the day. It was a way for us to come together and support each other. So it wasn't just about second line or dancing in the street. And a lot of times, again, joy and dancing and singing are ways of resistance. But it was even bigger than that. It was people pulling their money together to bury each other, to help each other, to buy property. We did a lot of things together.
And joy helped you get from one moment to the next, through the unbearable.
Exactly.
And
So
it's impossible.
that's just what Wendy said. The joy that helps us get from one moment to the next. Without joy, without infusing joy, we will forget that we can even get up. Because this work is hard. And it is painful. So we definitely need to infuse that joy. And remember, we do this for a reason. We are thankful. And I'm thankful to y'all. So I'm going to ask my daughter to come up and share a little bit about the history of the Creole Belle Baby, the history of the baby dolls, which was all the way back in the 1800s. And she's going to do a poem, and then we're going to try to get back on schedule, because I'm pretty sure it's going to change.
How's everybody? I'm sorry, the room went dead. How is everybody? Okay, everyone's awake now. My name is Brandon Bigard, but amongst the Creole Belle Baby Dolls, I am known as Baby Doll Lily. Nice to meet y'all. Now, I know y'all looking like, why is she up in this outfit? Now y'all thinking, this is something silly. Well, I'll tell y'all I wore this last year. Don't worry, you're gonna see me something different next year. Come Mardi Gras year. Like the Mardi Gras Indians, the Creole Belles, actually all baby dolls have very, very deep-rooted history in resistance. I'm gonna tell you something. Actually all minority women in New Orleans were not allowed to do Mardi Gras. I'm gonna let you think for that for a few seconds. We weren't allowed to do Mardi Gras. We did the bead work, we helped bead work, we helped food, we helped everything. We weren't allowed to go. And it wasn't just that, we weren't allowed a lot of things. And of course, baby doll, you know when people say, hey Red, they said, hey baby doll. So a bunch of women got together. Now again, the origin story is going to be different which baby doll group you're talking to. I'm not getting in that fight. But the basic idea is a bunch of women got together and they said, we don't actually like this and we don't care anymore. They ain't going to stop us. You know what? We're going to take this word and we're going to make it ours. We're going to get our own outfits and we're going to go down these streets and we're going to dance and sing on Mardi Gras just like everyone else does. And who going to stop us? And that's exactly what they did. And they were dancing and singing and just singing all up and down the street. So much that Zulu even came. They were like, hey, why don't you come with us? And they were like, nah, Jack, we got our own. And that was the baby dolls. They were a group of people, females, or those who identified as females, maybe for that moment, maybe for the whole entire year. They identified and say, you will not control my identity. You will not control my body. You will not control what you can call me. And so they smoked cigars, threw money at men, and danced off at each other. Had dance-offs when the groups came. And that was the baby dolls. And I'm part of the Creole Bells because this is an important part of history, especially for all the imagery of what's pretty, what's perfect, what you should be, how you should be. You shouldn't have your hair poofy. You shouldn't have your hair up. You shouldn't wear that color. You shouldn't wear this color. You shouldn't wear that shirt. We are constantly bombarded and taught that we are not allowed to be ourselves. That we are not allowed to feel by ourselves. We are not allowed to appreciate our own culture. That in order for me to be accepted and to be pretty, I must become more white. In order for me to be successful, I must become more white. And I'm in this outfit and I'm Lily and I say, baby, you thought. You wish you was as pretty as me on these streets. And to the police who want to beat me, hurt me, walk down the street, ride in the cars, to follow me because my skin isn't pretty to you, baby, catch me on the street. I'm in this color. Come on. I'm going to be singing now. And you can bring it, I'll bring it. Because that is what this culture is about. Resisting the image, resisting what they teach you as a lie, and telling them and bringing it every generation, saying, you are beautiful, whatever body, whatever hair type, whatever eye type, whatever you like to wear. Oh, my son around Mardi Gras wants to wear a dress. Okay, let him do it.
All right.
He's gonna be a baby doll this year then.
He's free.
And if anyone got anything to say about it,
Catch these hands.
come catch me on the street, y'all. Now, I'm supposed to read y'all a poem.
All right.
And it's called A Promise to Freedom Denied. I was promised dreams and given angel wings, shown the blue of the sky. I was promised endless possibilities and given a paintbrush for the color of all things, and told I could paint the future as I wished it. I was promised freedom, shown the secret names of all things in creation, and told I would write the prophecies and possibilities of what was to come. But then my wings were chained, my paintbrush broken and taken away, and the tongue of all things possible taken from me again, broken from me again, suspended from me, expelled from me, disciplined from me, medicated from me, pushed out from me, arrested from me, killed from me. Once again, it's been taken from me, my freedom denied. But I am stronger from before, when you took me down that tear-soaked and blood road, when you dragged me to foreign shores, when you cut my hair and took my tongue, when you sold me away from my family. I will not take this standing down. I'll take the feathers from my wings and make a beautiful gown, burning your eyes with the longing of the blue of the sky, the shine of the sun, and the reflection of the sea, until your chains rust and I am free. I will take the paint from my broken paintbrush and draw all the world as it should be, making wanting so strong that the paint dyes your intentions, rewriting the present as I wish it to be, and I'll be free. I'll keep the words I know and whisper them into younger ones' ears, and in your own tongue sing songs so beautifully that the wrong of your own hearts will choke you, and your own language broken, we will be free. I was the child you promised freedom, given endless possibilities, and was ordained in hopes and dreams. I was the person you changed, stripped of all my things, and beaten to what you wanted me to be. But no more. This is my declaration of war. I will reclaim what I was. No more will I let my freedom be denied.
Deep breath. Thank you, Brandon. I'm feeling very blessed to be in this space with you all right now. Feeling very blessed to be immersed in that powerful history. And for that history to launch us into this conversation. So thank you all. Thanks to all of the New Orleans natives for being here and for welcoming us so warmly and so genuinely. So thank you. So what we're going to do now is a bit of a preview of the conversation that we will have after lunch. So what I'm going to ask you first, and especially for those New Orleans folks who are in the room, to help give us a sense of what the schools here are and what some of the challenges are here in New Orleans education. Just share, and let's just go around the room for those who feel comfortable, who feel free sharing your own personal experiences with schooling in New Orleans and wherever you are.
Well, I just like to remind people that I was educated in public schools, and I had an extraordinary elementary education at the McDonough 15 school, and it that does not, to me, that's important because I feel like there's an erasure of the amazing Black women who were veteran teachers who taught me in first grade, second grade, sixth grade, who not only did I see them in school, but I would see them in dance class. I would see them at their homes. You know, like we had I still today, actually this weekend I saw my first grade teacher right out here on this corner, asking me if I had gone to vote. So I'm just saying, I think that often gets erased, that there has been a legacy of Black teachers going above and beyond what the institution made space for.
And to bring that home, right, so after Brown versus Board of Education, you know, the seminal case of desegregation, 30,000 Black teachers were fired from their jobs. So in the name of desegregation and supposed integration, Black teachers lost their footing in schools. And it started this whole snowball effect. After Katrina, 7,000 Black teachers in New Orleans alone.
My brother was one of those teachers who was teaching in the high school he went to.
Right.
And coaching in that high school.
Right.
And he's never been able to return. He's still living
In Maryland?
And teachers who were teaching plus, teaching, nurturing, cultivating, teachers who were connected, who were in and of the community themselves, so we're connected to families and young people in different ways than we're experiencing right now. So thank you for sharing that with me. Yes, sir.
I want to excuse me. I'm sorry, can I ask that people use the mic on so that people record it?
And you gotta come up because they're wired, so.
By that big hand, because she's been fighting for the schools in New Orleans. And I mean, this lady go hard 24/7. I don't know how she do it, but a shine be God. I won't give her a hand. She's been fighting hard, you know. And the other else is fighting with food, she's gonna fight, you know. Come on, everybody stand up and give her a hand, because she fight hard. When I say she fight hard, she fight hard. And sometimes you gotta applaud those people, because she don't get enough applause. You know, when I was going to school, I had teachers that loved me. I had Wendy O'Neill, Daddy, John O'Neill. I worked with Tamarine and Fan. At 14 years old, I was running the summer camp, didn't have a clue. My assignment was to follow her daddy, John O'Neill, around everywhere. And see, her daddy taught me a lot. So her daddy taught me something that the schools didn't teach me. Right. Those songs she was singing when we went to Alabama, they taught us something that the schools wasn't teaching us, you know. And I got my ride or die partner called Kim Ford right there. She go hard, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, when the second line of Baby Dolls, I used to cuss school, you know. And they had this one teacher used to catch me every time. I said, brother, don't tell my mom I'm gonna get whipped. And he said, well, you gonna come clean my house? Yeah. You know, because I used to, when the second line come, I just used to cut school. I ain't gonna lie, I was a good student, but I used to cut. See, when I do the second line, I'm gonna cut the jump in the fence. This one teacher called me every time. But what I want to say is, I took the 504 at Clark School. My son was 504. And it wasn't getting the children the 504 at Clark. Now, way back, I was a 504 student. What I mean by that is I stayed in trouble. 13, 12, but there are some teachers that love me. That's why I made it. 13 years old, I ran a gang, and they had one teacher challenge me, you know. And so, what I want to tell y'all now, the miseducation. You know the song they used to sing? We're going to stop the miseducation in Alabama. That's what's going on in New Orleans, you know. And I'm thankful for Shonda, Wendy, and all the people that go strong, you know. When third graders right now in the charter schools can't read. Right. Children riding hot buses from 5 in the morning to 8:30 at night. They got rates, they got everything going on the buses. But let's call them in the room. There's one lady, and I'm going to get out of office. Karen Carter Peterson was a black lady, fired all the teachers. She brought charges here with her black cronies, that's the Democrats, and one lady by the name of Leslie Jacobs, a white lady, made all the blacks turn to school. But we gonna get our schools back. With people like Ashana, Wendy, with y'all bringing together, we gotta take our schools back. And see the drumming that you saw, the singing, the Baby Dolls, all that doing way back was in school. That's what really got me, the drums and everything. That's why I did my work to go to band. You know what I'm saying? And I had a teacher that taught me math. Because she said, math is the key. You gotta learn, if you're gonna be a musician, whatever you're gonna be, you're gonna learn how to count. So I ain't skipping math class. You know what I'm saying? But what I want y'all to know, Ashana and them is fighting with y'all, wherever y'all at, don't give up. We're gonna get our schools back, get rid of Karen Carter Peterson, and run Leslie Jacobs out of town.
I think it's morning time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Theodore Thompson. I'm with the Black Man Rising and also Families and Friends of Weekly Incarcerated Children. I want to speak about my experience at school. I had the luxury of going to a community-based public school. Yeah, I think it's like, I heard my back. Yeah. I'm going to keep right here. Y'all can hear me? Yeah. All right. So I had the luxury of going to a community-based public school in elementary before Katrina. We had I just lived in the St. Projects. In my school, we both Anyways, yeah, so we've been on each other for a long time. So, so I was living in St. Bernard Projects, which was like 3 blocks away from my elementary school. So I never seen a school bus before. This was the Magic School Bus. That's the only time I saw a school bus before. And, yeah, so my school was very, the teachers were welcoming, like everybody else said. The teachers loved us. They, worked hard on us. They threatened us sometimes, but it was, it was welcomed at that time. But after Katrina, we see a lot of people coming in as an opportunity to rebuild these schools and to charterize them, privatize them, and where they have no accountability. So I also had the luxury of going to a charter school after Katrina. It was called Mel McCoy Academy for Mathematics and Business. The only reason why I went there is because I was terrible at math, and I thought I was going to get help, learning more math and stuff like that. Antonio, of course, went there as well. Pretty much all the core members of Black Man Rising went to the same high school. Pretty much what they did was they segregated us by behavior and test scores. And so we had the smart class and the class clowns, and had the class that was in between. So the smart class, because I was part of, because I did pretty good on standardized tests, but it is what it is. But a lot of people in that class benefited more. They had more luxury. They had recess. They had PE. They had dual enrollment. They was able to leave early and go to get college credits early and stuff like that. The other kids had to stay there. They didn't get the proper education and stuff like that. Also, within that, we had two principals that came from out of town, of course. They used to threaten us, something like, if you don't do this, you take off our uniform and, don't let this necktie fool you and stuff like that. Something like that, they'll touch us and stuff like that. They also threatened teachers' jobs. They also, kind of forced teachers to give us the answers for state tests, stuff like that. So when a lot of us graduated from the high school, which was 100% graduation rate, a lot of us was unprepared for college. A lot of people dropped out. A lot of people ended up dead. A lot of people, worked fast food jobs. That's not an issue. Work fast food jobs. A lot of people wasn't prepared for life, outside of school. If you want to add on, I think, let you jump in.
All right. And so with Theo, and just to kind of piggyback off what Theo said, and just taking it back to our elementary school, one of the things our teachers did when we was young, we didn't really get suspended when we was in school because our teachers had a relationship with our parents. Our teachers came from the same communities our parents came from. So before my mom gave it come to the school, Miss Johnson already touched me already. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about charter schools today, we talk about the teachers. I have no problems with teachers who want to come and learn our culture and be educated. But most of these teachers came from different places. They didn't look like us. They sat in the classrooms. They didn't know our culture. You know what I'm saying? And it was really about money. At the end of the day, it was about privatization. And when he was talking about us being separated in classes, like, people don't realize what type of issues that caused within the schools with the young men. Because even though I knew him growing up in the projects, but I didn't know Derek that well. Derek's one of the good people taking tests. Not to point him out with the Black Man Rising shirt on sitting over there. I'm just saying, when you don't, and so what that does is that causes issues. You see that brother, and he's standing in front of you, he performs well, you don't, and your administration saying you need to be more like him because you're not good enough. You need to be like that man. And so that causes animosity and tension towards people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of stuff we was dealing with. It's all boys school. They busting us from all over. We got to get up, about 5:30 in the morning. Still happening right now. I'm not speaking. You think I'll just speak. I'm not speaking in past tense. My little cousin sitting right there with the Black Man Rising shirt on. Yeah, right next to Derek. He goes to Lake Area High School. He go through the same thing that I went through when I was in school, which is why he's in that church right now. Like, people don't understand, like, the stuff that's happening to us down here, and we don't do nothing about it, it's going to continue to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we felt it's imperative that these people know, like, that we're going to fight to get our schools back. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, we walking on taking straight lines. We've been told this story for years, man. That was our reality. Silent lunches. I couldn't talk to him if he was sitting next to me in school. All my principal had to do was walk in the class in the cafeteria and do this. My principal was upset. He raised his hand. You talk when he raised his hand, you're going home for 5 days. Our parents, my mama had to work like 3 jobs. I'm sorry, she don't really, at that point in time, I can't really say, Mom, the school system is corrupt. Mom don't have time for this. Gotta pay bills. You know what I'm saying? So that's just some of the issues that we have to face. So our parents are starting to see the issues. Our parents always seen the issues. We just never had enough of them. And then you talking about them being financial slaves, like they have to work. You know what I'm saying? So we took it upon ourselves. Like, we see our parents. We live in these communities. We live in poverty. We see what our parents have to go through. We're going to start doing the work. You know what I'm saying? At a young age. So I just think it's important that people realize that. If anybody else want to come up, because I'm done. If anybody else want the microphone, I'll be more than happy to pass it to them. Anybody else? I'm going to keep talking.
So I just want to say that I am not a native New Orleanian. I moved here 4 years after Hurricane Katrina. I grew up in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, and went to a real Montessori school where if I didn't do my homework, my teacher sat me in a seat, and then I did my homework when I got there. So that was my foundation, free thinker. My children went to school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in Richmond, Virginia, in Durham and Raleigh, North Carolina, and then we came here. And the first school they went to for a complete school year had been in existence for 3 years. I was the first parent to ever show up at a board meeting. That was also the first board meeting in all of these states that I ever attended, just because you think that you understand that rights are being violated. You move from another state where you have been educated in a way that was not where the Board of Education, Brown versus the Board of Education had to happen. You realize that this is criminal. This is not about Republican or Democrat, so I also want to say that. Neither one of those parties are protecting our children's right to education. So I had to start meeting advocates. Ashana, Gina, so that I could figure out how do I talk to the school to tell them, to engage with them so that my children are getting what they deserve as American citizens, right? They used to, at that school, start to post the announcements for the board meeting after I came to pick the kids up. Let's fast forward, and you will see him throughout the day, is that I have a son. And so while I wanted to concentrate on making sure that my children who transferred from, my 2 daughters who transferred from North Carolina had their gifted identification service, which Louisiana told me that North Carolina didn't meet their education standards, so my children had to be retested. The focus from trying to be an advocate about making sure that my girls got their gifted then came to how do I make sure that they don't put my son out of school. So I had to divide my energies, which you can only divide, like Antonio says, trying to feed kids and trying to advocate for your kids so much. Last year, because I'm in the school, a lot of the kids ask my kids if I work at the school because they see me so much. And I'm sure a lot of you advocates probably get that too. Last year, because of the relationship that I've developed this last 3 years, instead of suspending my son, I just got a phone call, because I do live 3 blocks away from the school. I just got a phone call for me to come pick him up. And he was just standing on the front, waiting for me to walk up. No paperwork. So I just want to say that this is ground zero. And everything that we as American citizens have allowed to happen here in Louisiana is why we're suffering. There's a lot to learn about Louisiana history and how they have discriminated against minorities and poor people all over this country. So when you leave here, do some studying about the Reconstruction era and learn that the first black anybody's was from Louisiana.
That's right.
And let us take our strength, as Wendy would say, from the tradition that, who told you that the fight was over?
That's right, it ain't over.
Who told you that you made it somewhere? Who really told you that you was free?
Come on. That's the thing.
And now I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, I wanted to, I was just thinking, when one of the people was talking, one of the Black Man Rising men were talking about the history behind the Rwanda people. Y'all might remember the movie Hotel Rwanda, and they focused on the division between the Tutsi and the what's the other people? Hutu. The division between the Tutsi and the Hutu people, it started with education. It was very systematic. They decided to educate one of the people, like either the Hutu or the Tutsi. They educated one group of people and made it very hard, and made the other area of people to do a lot of the working. They made it hard for them to have to go to school. They would have to work, so the other group of people would get educated. And as they grew up, you know, with the lies thrown in the mix, they would say that those people are uneducated and they are less of human. And I mean, you heard the brother say, he said, well, you know, we was divided by behavior and grades, and he couldn't talk to certain people. The division is already happening. Now this happened in a whole country in Africa that caused something called the Rwanda genocide, a whole movie about it, you know, and of course you don't even get all the history. But the most argued thing about a lot of the Black people problems is that we cause them. I'm not saying we cause them, but that's the argument for why we don't need help, right? The thing is, we don't really cause it, we just get caught in the mix of it. So if somebody's telling me, you know, if I grow up, I'm the smart kid, and that's the dumb kid because they got behavior problems for whatever reason, they probably smarter than me. And I went to Douglas. Anybody from New Orleans know Douglas Bobcats? You know, we had a really bad reputation. But I'm smart. And a lot of people in the school were smart, but they had behavior problems. And when we get divided by that, when we graduate, you know, that's the dumb kids. Or if you go to 35, Douglas is the dumb kids. And we don't get along with each other. And then we fight each other. We go on Canal Street and fight each other. So I just want to bring that up. Education is where they divide us. Is where we can be divided and put against each other. And then other people look and say that we the problem.
And tell about how you're assigned as a dumb kid, yet would we know about Plessy versus Ferguson without the work that you and students at the center did?
2017, they're causing children's mindset form to be okay with going to go to prison, institutionalized. Well, I have schools are like first.
Do we have to give an example, like police are disciplining students?
2017, schools are trying to get guns in schools.
Yeah, that is exactly.
Any input? 2017, what's happening?
Besides burning South now, and get rid of all the black criminal press, he left Savannah as a mark. That's why like, we go look at Savannah, Georgia. All this looks like Mobile is older than New Orleans. But Mobile's got more black history because it wasn't nothing ever farmed. So they moved it all up over here. But if you go over there, they'll tell you. Like you go back in there, they'll tell you all that. All these people will tell you all that. But they tell you, when they say take the money, I'll take all these other people down. But the main guy who did it is on the money, on the park. He got a big castle thing over here, right over there.
You still talking about Andrew?
Yeah, the dude on the horse. If you look at him on the horse, he got like some demon horns coming out the top of his head.
Yeah, and the president loves him. So what's the first? So what's our first step?
So we have the truth.
That's a really good first step.
The first step I say is organize.
That's my first step, because I'm an organizer, so I just always believe that organizing.
You gotta organize first.
Organize and
to listen all those things that happen. And then it's saying if we look back and our first step was, and I was saying something that, our first step was to fix whatever it was to address these things. And I was saying that what might be helpful for me with writing is if we each start off by saying one word, because it would fix it. Yeah.
There's no accountability to accountability. But it's like people have, there are clear roles and responsibilities defined where that accountability is coming from.
And I think we need to clearly
Like, I'm looking
define
for
what
what
we need. We need to definitely, I think nothing's going to happen until we clearly define what we need and what we want from them for our education. So I think we would
Clearly defined and articulated.
needs.
Articulated needs.
The education itself sucks. We're not learning about ourselves. So multicultural education, culturally responsive, relevant education, responsive, whatever you want to call it.
In 2022, they applied best practices to fidelity.
Oh,
you're trying to stage that? Yeah, right.
White supremacy within these white teachers and the white students. So think about what would have happened had we had, Benjamin E. Mays, his theory, his philosophy working. We wouldn't have these same structures that we have now. But like I said, we don't have the same thought process as black people. Because a lot of people at the table right now that are doing this to us are black people. And so we want to create our own leadership academy. We want to create our own leadership institute for our superintendents and for our black principals for our new school that we took over.
So we're talking about what it is or what we've done collectively to win. And my sister said it perfectly. We're recreating and reframing the narrative, right? Because who's going to tell our story better than we do? So not only do we continue to fight policymakers, but we're also engaging parents and students more. Social media is an integral part of this strategy. We're redefining how folks are engaged and how folks get the message. But we're also having more dialogue, right? And the way that dialogue is happening looks very different. And that comes when we kind of constantly reinvent the process. Youth are standing up for their rights and persuading their peers in a much different way. We find that more youth are running for political positions and corruption is being exposed. Really specifically in Virginia, the climate is one that's probably a microcosm of this national climate, right? So we see 45 and we see the blatant and overt racism. Well, you heard about Charlottesville, but just this past week in Richmond, and actually the county that we live in, Short Pump Middle School. I was just told that Roland Martin was tweeting about it today, but in Short Pump Middle School, there were these white football players who basically simulated sexual acts, having two black fellow football players bent over and simulating, again, sexual acts. So we have to understand that as they were doing this, they were yelling racist rants, saying we're going to F these, Africans back to Uganda. So that constitutes one a hate crime, but that's also felony aggravated sexual battery. So when I wrote an email to the Virginia Department of Education, the Commonwealth's attorney, the school board, and everybody else, I didn't just raise my voice, but I improved my argument. And what that meant is that I attached the Virginia State Code, I attached the statutes that said this is what needs to be done, because we have to stop just making a whole lot of noise, right? We have to stop saying this is wrong, this is wrong. They understand that it's wrong because somebody else said the system is working exactly as it was designed to work. So we just have to be very strategic in how we demand, not ask for, but how we demand, that we resolve a lot of the issues that we see on a day-to-day basis. This is not new, but our approach has to be. Thank you.
appreciate all of y'all. I want to emphasize that obviously we can win, and obviously we will win. I want to make sure much on our schools. It means that particularly black youth in the city that's predominantly black, particularly black youth, their bodies are commodified, meaning like they're just making money off black youth bodies in the seats. Because they're making money off of black youth body in the seats, right? They're also afraid of black young people. Hired all the 7,000 teachers. That was the economic base of New Orleans. It formed the middle class of New Orleans. So not only did you destabilize all the schools, but you destabilized the economy. That wasn't an accident. Oppression is never an accident. That is on purpose. Okay, so I just want to ground us in where we are here. Those are some of the conditions here. Also, the condition here in New Orleans incarcerates more of the folks that live here than any other city, any other place on the planet. On the planet. That's an intentional system. Putting somebody in jail isn't an accident. It's like, oh damn, my bad, I didn't know it was you. Disrupting the political process, right? I heard that. I heard mass-based organizing, right? So that like we build people power to confront economic power. That's what I heard from some of y'all, right? I also heard analyzing history and political education. I heard that from y'all in terms of, yo, this was the first step. I heard taking over institutions, taking over school boards. I heard y'all say that. I heard y'all say that you want to make sure that you're talking to parents. I heard y'all say that you want to make sure young people are developing the agency and the power to fight back. I heard y'all say that you're trying to organize for power. Was I right? Did I organize for power and organize to shift power? Was I right? Did I hear that? Right? So when we tell the story, eventually when we tell the story of how we win, we're going to talk about the brilliance that is at this table, that are at these tables, that said like, this is how it started. This is the first step we took. Y'all feel me? Say, all right? Y'all feel me? Say, all right? Yo, we're going to do this right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Word. This is the time that I have with y'all. I just want to explain one thing in terms of how we use this for Rethink. If anybody has any questions of how we use this, this is a history that's not taught in schools. And we said we had to do this on purpose. We have to do the same way oppression is intentional. Yo, our freedom gotta be intentional. Yes. we gotta do this shit on. No one is gonna get free by accident. So we had to think on purpose and say what kind of history the young people need to see. And with our young people, we study, and we also sit down and we listen to elders, and every time we hear something and learn something, we actually add it to the timeline. So we started putting it together in 2014, and we just keep going because there's always more to learn. We listen to our elders, we read different books, we watch documentaries, and like I said, every single time we watch with our young people, with families, and every single time we learn something new, we add it to the timeline. And then we use that to talk about, I think, the conversation about white supremacy. Yo, white supremacy is so insidious and it's real, and again, it's intentional. So we engage in these conversations and we start talking to folks. Our young people in particular, we work with 128 core young people that is part of the core rethinkers, and then we start asking about their experience, and they start asking other people in their schools. They start asking their parents, like, what was this like for you? And that's where we have the black posters was quotes from folks about like, let's talk about what you see. That was a particular project where young people said like, you know what? We want to define New Orleans for ourselves. At the 10th anniversary of Katrina, a lot of people were coming into the city saying like, wow, New Orleans, it's a miracle. You know, we've recovered. And young people were like, nah, not that. So they said they wanted to define New Orleans for themselves. They decided they wanted to do a survey. They surveyed 500 young people across the city about their experiences with modern day Jim Crow, their experiences in the education system, right? And their experiences with access to food. And this is where you see their quotes on the black posters. And then the yellow posters was when we started talking, when young people were like, yo, we said, how do your white teachers and administrators respond to you when you start sharing your experiences? That's what's on the yellow posters. So that's why at the bottom of it, it says rethink your privilege. Like folks always want to be like, yeah, man, you bringing you down. Bringing you down. But that's real, right? Can we get a little bit more, I don't know if y'all have heard this, can we get a little bit more positive? You gotta speak a little bit more positively about me trying to kill you. I appreciate it. You know? So on the yellow posters, we asked young people to give feedback about like, what response do you get when you really try to raise these things up? And on the gray posters, and this is over some time, on the gray posters, this is actually when we're using it, we're working with young people and we're like, how we should we use this as an organizing tool, particularly in New Orleans. We can't get data. You can ask the schools, but they won't give it to you. Data on expulsions, data on suspensions, data on pushouts. Because it's a charter school, they don't actually have to give it to us. So we said, like, well, let's just ask the people that are getting expelled and pushed out and suspended, and that's our data. So Rethink created what we call an incident report. We have a link online on our website that you can just click and you can fill out if something happens to you. Young people, we have young people in every single school in New Orleans. They actually also talk to their peers and they fill out an incident report. Once we get an incident report, we get in touch and young people get in touch and they start asking questions about how should we organize around this. So in each school, not in every single school, but our goal is in each school we have a cop watch team. In every single school, we have a group of young people that's trained to do know your worth, then know your rights, then know your reality, because we want to fight for what we're worth, not fight, we don't want to fight for what they'll give us with our rights, because that's some BS. We want to fight for what we're worth. And then we also have young people that are trained in what's called participatory defense, where it's a group of community members and young people that are actually trained, whether it's the actual criminal and justice system or some BS discipline policy system in your school, discipline system in your school. Young people are trained to support each other through that system. And we use the incident reports as a way to kind of connect with and organize. Just the first half of last year alone, we had 200 incident reports for the first half of 2017. So we use this as a tool, all of this as a tool for building a base and mass-based organizing. Because we know, ain't no power like the power of the people. Y'all feel me? Say, all right. So I just wanna, y'all inspire me. I'm hearing a lot of things about like, what are we gonna do, our first steps to win. And without being on the mic, I would love to engage in more conversations with all of y'all, but I want to say that I appreciate, you want to say?
Are your posters available online?
They will be after today. Sure. So after today, maybe 2 days, the posters will be available. But listen, as just organizing in general, I would love to talk strategy with any one of y'all and just hear a little bit more about what you're doing in your cities, what we're trying to do, and the different folks that we're trying to organize with in New Orleans, because we trying to win. Y'all feel me? Say, all right? Can we end on one more chant? Is that all right? All right. All right. So this one, So this one, has anybody ever heard Dynamite? Boom, Dynamite. No. Oh yeah, okay. So you have to stand up. Surprise. So what should we say? So sometimes I rethink we say boom dynamite, where you think is dynamite, but y'all don't have to call anything dynamite. We already know that. So let's say young folks are dynamite, or our folks are dynamite. That's how it's gonna go. Our folks. So it goes boom dynamite. Our folks are dynamite, and when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick 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 boom. I know, it's kind of dope. I don't know, but it's it's kind of dope. All right. So just, I'm gonna say it slow so y'all can like join in, because it's not a call or response, you gotta join in. Y'all feel me? Say, all right. Boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite, and when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite, and when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite, and when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. I got it? Our folks are dynamite, and when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom. All right. So when we do it this time, when we go tick, 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 tick. For those who care to go, you don't have to go all the way down a little bit. Because when you boom, you gotta pretend to explode like boom. Y'all got it? Y'all got it? So we just marched on the school, or the school board office, or the superintendent's office, and we let them know ain't no power like the power of the people. Y'all feel me? Say all right? And our people are dynamite. So y'all feel me? Say all right? And when you mess with dynamite, yo, that joint goes boom. Y'all feel me? Say all right? Boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite. And when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite. And when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. That's it. Y'all gotta, I'm feeling lonely up here, so y'all gotta come close. Everybody gotta come. We fam, we know each other. We gotta do this together. We gotta. And when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite. And when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite. And when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Our folks are dynamite. And when you mess with dynamite, it goes tick, 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 boom, dynamite.
Okay, so before we break, we're going to break until about 4 for David Banner and for the setup. I want to just first thank all of you for showing up so fully and so powerfully and so authentically today. For the very first conversation on race and education, for Classrooms Rising, and stay tuned for more information about the project as it unfolds. And I think that last exercise KG had us walk through, the next step that we have to take as a people is thinking about the stories, right? What are the stories that we're telling? What's the narrative that we're telling? And how are we pushing back on the narrative that's already out there about our children? And I think it's important. Brother, you shared the story about the child with the gun. And I just, we have to remember, he's in a system that's hunting him. And if we are not aware and don't include that in the story, then what will happen is that folks will hear that and say, well, this is why, right? This is why we gotta lock them in cages. He's being hunted. There's a system out for his blood. So we have to include that in the story. So that's an important next step for us to take. I thank you all. Thank you, DSC and the coordinating committee. Thank you to our community partners. Flip, where's Ashana? Ashana Vidar. I bow to you, my love, my dear. Thank you. Thank you so much. Rethink and KG, of course. Thank you. A huge thank you to where are folks from Racial Justice Now who are a part of the conversation, a part of the plan. They're getting ready. And then, of course, thank you to the incredible CJSF team. Thank you to Bina, Jamie, and Alexis, and then thank you again to all of you. So we'll break now for about 20 minutes, and then we'll welcome David Banner.
Boys and girls, brothers and sisters, family and friends, welcome to New Orleans! Oh man, I'm feeling good, feeling great. How's everybody doing today? Hey, my name is Hashim Jabbar. You can call me Brother Jabbar. I'm the interim director of Racial Justice Now in Dayton, Ohio, where we are unashamedly black, and more black. Racial Justice Now, we are the national co-chairs of the Dignity in Schools campaign, and we are extremely proud to be a part of this campaign of over 100 member organizations in 28 states across the country, fighting against the school-to-prison pipeline and school push-out. The Dignity in Schools campaign is a unique coalition because we are a bottom-up, membership-led coalition of local organizations led by youth, parents, community members, educators, and advocates. Tonight we have 25 member organizations here from 12 states here with us today who have traveled across the country to say we're not going for it, it ain't okay, we're not slaves, and we do fight back. So if you are here from those 12 states, stand up and let them know that you went to Dignity in Schools campaign, that you ain't going for the hokey doke, that you don't play that you hit me, I will hit you back. Now we're not turning the other cheek today, is that right? All right, I think we got this thing started properly. Our theme this year is education is a human right. We will not give up the fight. This is our national event, and the theme for our national event is cultural resistance. We had to come to New Orleans so we can get some cultural resistance. Oh, everybody's saying it with me. You know I like that. Can we get some cultural resistance? All right, now we working with something. I'm gonna bring to you a bad, good brother. A brother that I am so proud to know, to love, to respect, and honor. A young brother that I'm gonna bring to the stage, this microphone. His name is Antonio Travis. Put your hands together for Antonio Travis from Black Men Rising. Who are we? Who are we?
I need everybody to listen to what they're saying. I need everybody in the room to say this. We're gonna shake the room. Who are we? Who are we? Everybody in here. We are DSC, man. I'm happy to be here. Antonio Travis, man. I'm from New Orleans. Again, work with families and friends of Louisiana's incarcerated children. Started the Black Men Rising movement. I'm here with Dignity in Schools, the National Youth Alliance of Boys and Men of Color. I say all those names because I work for all those organizations. That's because the work has to be done. That means no sleep. We have to sacrifice for our future. We have to think about those things when we do this type of work. Black Men Rising, when we do our poem and our skit, understand that it's crafted by us. We don't need no outside entities telling us what we need to say and what we need to do. It's authentic engagement all the way with us. We walk in the room, we like our parts in our head. We like to wear our Nike shoes. We like to look like black young men. We don't want to look like the people who they put on TV and say, you need to dress like this. This is the way you need to, talk or articulate yourself. I like the way I talk and I like the way I look. And that's the message we send to all young men across this country. So that's the message we gotta keep on bringing. Every young man you see in a Black Men Rising shirt, every young man you see in this room, period. We all Black Men Rising. Women too, gender non-conforming, all of that. We in this together, but what we do need to realize is that the young people are our future. Everybody, all the OGs over here, older generation, I gotta make sure I specify that when I say that. We commend y'all, all the OGs in the room, because at some point you passed the torch. At some point you said, we believe in you, young person. We're gonna give you the platform so you can continue to do the work. So people like Antonio and Miss Isis can stand right here with our Black Girls Rising shirt on, and cause she about to come up there and kill it after me, so I'm about to leave because she about to kill us. So we can stand up here with our platform, the platform that you guys fought for, so we can stand up here and give it to our people. So we can stand up here so David Banner can come out here and talk to us, but we already know we guys and goddesses in our communities already. You know what I'm saying? So I stand proud. I remember when I went to the White House to go see the president speak. They asked me on the phone, Antonio, we need you to wear a suit and tie. I have nothing against suits and ties, but I don't do respectability politics, people. We don't do respectability politics in Black Men Rising, people. When we sit across from parents and parents say my son is bad, your son is not bad. This is a brotherhood and it's a bond. So when we talk to parents, we say, sir, if you're not ready to join Black Men Rising, that's fine, but it's a choice. We don't force that on you. It's not a discipline program. It's a brotherhood before anything. We don't do this to fundraise. We don't raise money. We're poor. We've been poor people. We do this because it's something missing in our community that we bring it back to our community, and that's bond, that's brotherhood, that's true authenticity. When you see our shirts, you see the villages here and Generations United. We about reconnecting that plug that's been disconnected over centuries. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Ice Spot for Killers.
How y'all doing? All right. How are you? Well, I just want to say, like Antonio said, I'm part of Black Girls Rising. We work with Black Men Rising and Flick just to like get our word out. We perform poems like Stella Rise, and I was like really important to me. We performed at the mock jazz funeral, and after we destroyed Black Men Rising with a poem, we really got into it. At first, we didn't understand what we were saying, but after we like broke it down and we like really rehearsed it, we understand the importance of our poem. We understand the importance of what we were saying. And our work with Flick is really important to me because at my school, like, we have a lot of trouble, we have fights and stuff like that. And I feel like that the children at my school was like more in touch with, they knew what was going on and they knew like about dignity in schools. They wouldn't act the way they do because they don't know that education is, I don't want to say a privilege, but it can be taken away from them and they don't know the importance of it yet. And that's all I want to say right now. But thank you for being here.
This is our 8th annual National Week of Action Against School Pushout and the School to Prison Pipeline. You can see by the t-shirts, every year was a different theme, but we are continuing and expanding on the work. The goal of our Week of Action is to raise national awareness of the school to prison pipeline and the solutions that parents, students, and teachers are creating in their communities. We call for solutions, not suspensions, counselors, not cops, culturally responsive schools, and by the way, yes, Racial Justice Now, the West Dade Youth Task Force does have a culturally relevant curriculum toolkit. This is our national launch of our culturally relevant curriculum toolkit. We're not going to lay down for a European-centered education. We want an education that fits the mold of the student population. And if that student population is a black population, well, doggone it, we need some black education. Can I get an amen? Can I get a well? All right. So we're going to go to I'm going to introduce our new video on the evolution of the Week of Action. It features coordinating committee members, and they talk about some of how DSC started. And so let's hit the video. As I mentioned, we have released our culturally relevant curriculum toolkit, and so what I want to do is be culturally relevant. I want to be culturally relevant to our West African griot tradition of storytelling. I want to tell a story. And so many of you know that we work in what they call the nonprofit industrial complex, where if you don't take credit for the work that you do, somebody else will take credit for it and get funding for it, right? And so I won't say that this national event happened because of me, but I will say that it happened through me. And so about 3 years ago it started. I told my wife, beautiful Queen Zakia Sankara Jabbar here up in the front looking good. Can everybody give her a round of applause? I see you, girl, up front. About 3 years ago, I told her, the Week of Action is great, but I think it really needs a national event to really get it a national, launch and get some national attention. And she said, okay, well, you should present that to the coordinating committee. And I did, and they accepted it, and so the first year we did it 3 years ago, or 2 point some years ago. It was in DC. Wasn't spectacular. You saw it here. It wasn't well attended by national news. I think we only had one reporter come out, but we did it. It was positive. It went well, and we kept it moving, right? Next year, it was much better. Went to Pittsburgh, PA. Pittsburgh, PA in the building. And I mean, it was the group that organized it, Pam in the back. They did an excellent job of organizing. It was very well attended. Had a great panel. Had a rap artist by the name of Jasiri X, a great giant of knowledge, brother Jasiri X. He rocked the spot. Had some local artists come out and do spoken word. It was powerful, but we still really didn't get, national attention. And so, time went by, December came around. I'm a spiritual brother, and something just came to me, and it said that, it needed this year to be in New Orleans. I didn't have a reason why. I didn't, couldn't rationalize it, but New Orleans was on my heart. And so, in accord with our cultural tradition, I called Mama Joyce, my elder, and I said, Mama Joyce, I think the Week of Action should be in New Orleans, the national event. And because she's a wise elder, she goes through this process where she asks you all these questions and, makes you really look at the information from different angles and helps you to dig deeper and really problem solve. And I really couldn't answer any of her questions. And she left the call saying something about Hashem in her Mississippi accent. You're going to have to do better than that. So I said, okay, what can I say? And a little more time went by, and I thought about it. I'm a prayerful man. I prayed about it. I meditated on it. Nothing came to me. Saw Mama Joyce in March. She came to Dayton. I was blessed to pick her up from the airport. And we went out to eat. She said, so tell me more about this, this New Orleans thing you're talking about. So she started asking me all these questions. I ain't had no answers, so I just started making stuff up, right? Well, they had a hurricane, right? And I think they got a charter school problem, and I don't know. And then she kept asking more questions and digging a little deeper, and then somehow something came out about cultural resistance. And she said, oh, okay, cultural resistance. And then started asking some more questions and playing with it, and I went to drop her off. Still couldn't answer any, really answer her questions, but she said, that cultural resistance, I think we got something. And I said, I couldn't answer her question, but she said we. You heard that, right? She said we, so I'm yeah, we in there. She said we going to New Orleans. And then I said, let me call up Sister Gina Womack. They're doing it big down there in New Orleans. Friends and family of Louisiana, incarcerated children. I told Gina, I said, Gina, I think the national event this year should be in New Orleans. She said, what? That sounds like a whole bunch of work, Hashem. I got this going on, I got that going on, and they down here tripping with this, and they down here tripping with that. I ain't got time for no national event, Hashem. You know what? I'm gonna think about not thinking about it, okay? I said, damn, how you gonna think about not thinking about it? Damn, I mean, just making love black women. Just come up with some stuff. Can I get your number? No, I'm gonna think about not giving it to you. Damn. Okay. And so a little more time went past. It was April, and this is the time of April. We come together. Shout out to Gwyneth Stott for bringing us to Atlanta for the annual Meet the Dignity in Schools campaign. Went to Atlanta, and Dignity in Schools campaign. They got about 2,000 conference calls every month, right? And so on like conference call 977, they were asking for volunteers. Would somebody like to volunteer to, help make all these decisions? And one of the decisions was about the national event, the Week of Action. So I said, yeah, I'll help with that. And so, everybody's rotating and moving around to help make these decisions. And then the question came up, what city are we going to go to? And so, this person was saying, well, how about this place and that place? I said, okay, great, but we're going to New Orleans. But yeah, the second place is great. Yeah, all right. Anybody else want to go? Well, this city wants to go. This one, okay, great, but we're going to New Orleans. Put your name up too. Second place is great. So I'm talking big stuff, right? Another month go by, some we on conference call number 1023. It's time to make a decision about what place we're going to go to the National Week of Action. And so, you know, you got this protocol you're supposed to follow when you're on these conference calls. Everybody put your phones on mute. We're about to make a decision. Okay, New Orleans in the help. Come on, New Orleans. Right? I'm talking big stuff. So we made the vote. It came out to New Orleans, and here we are. And here we are. So with all of that said, the point being is that where there is no vision, the people perish. And Dignity in Schools campaign has developed a vision to push forward for education justice. The Community for Just Schools Fund has pushed together a vision for education anew, for just schools, for education justice. And we had to bring together a man today that would help us to bring that vision into manifest existence. So this great brother's name is David. Mr. David Banner is his rap name. Many of you don't know that Mr. Banner was actually trained as a teacher. He graduated from Southern University. He was trained to be a teacher. He taught in schools for about 3 years. He was actually president of the Student Government Association there. He later attended the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, to work on his master's degree. And while he was there, he just told us this story. While he was there, before he decided to leave the program, there was a white instructor who asked the question, do you know what Common Core is? And he said, out of all the people in the classroom, he looked at him intently. Do you know what Common Core was? He said, yes, it's a circle. It's a circle. He said, very good, that's correct. He said, guess who is outside of the circle? He said, your people. Now think about that. So that's when he dropped out, pursued his rap career, and Mr. Banner has dropped 7 albums. He's a rapper, producer, artist. He's been touring across the country, not just using his celebrity to make money, but he's been performing and lecturing, raising the consciousness of the people, particularly young people. He has actually been going into schools, teaching educators in Texas, in New York, and in Colorado. His most recent album is The God Box, and he's going to be talking about that today. And so at this time, let's all stand up on our feet and get ready for not your average man, not your Rudy Poo man, but the God Box coming to lecture us on about the school to prison pipeline. Your friend, our friend, Mr. David Banner! Oh, he feeling love. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. New Orleans, stand up on your feet. For the God Box is coming to the stage today. Mr. David Banner!
Appreciate it. Now, first of all, y'all gotta remember, I'm a rapper, so I need a whole lot of love. There's a whole lot of ego up here. So, there's a couple things. The first thing that I want everybody to do, if it's any way possible, is I'm not leaving, like right after I get done, so put your cameras down. Let me tell you why. I usually don't let anybody have cameras at all, even if it's, the people that brought me here to speak. And I want to tell you why, really quick, so y'all won't think I'm being rude. Black people are the only people who wants to have their religion or their revolution or their upheaval or their rises on camera. When the policeman or the United States or the system or the man or whoever you want to call it, when they're conspiring this all back to education and what's going on in our schools. I had an opportunity to travel internationally. I had the #1 single in America with Chris Brown. It was called Get Like Me. So I got a chance to go all around the world, and I started noticing how America was broadcasting, especially black men at that time. And what you all may not know, but if you're black, you definitely know, or brown, you definitely know, that there's a push to militarize local police force, the local police force. So what they were doing is, or what I believe that they're doing is they're forecasting all of these negative images of black people globally. So whenever they decide to Ferguson, and think about this, have you ever noticed when a white person robbed the bank? I'm talking about they had AK-47s and grenades. They'll hit them like with a beanbag. They tell a black man to go for his wallet and he pull out his wallet and they kill him. Or they pull out tanks. So when I had a chance to travel internationally, I realized that they were broadcasting us to look like savages. So that whenever they decide to do what they do to our communities, it would be justified. New Orleans, I will give you an example of some history, then I'm gonna come back to me. Have you all ever heard of Vanport in Portland? Right around 1949, the seamen, the people that worked at the ports, they had upper middle class black people living in Portland, and it's right around Portland, it was called Vanport. They blew up the levees and flooded all the black folks, all the upper middle class black people. That's a story that they don't talk about in black history. And I always wondered, you know, just me being the person that if black folks knew about the story of Vanport, what had happened in New Orleans, do you really think that would have happened? And the reason why I asked that, if you know about local government, Katrina did not hit New Orleans. The levees broke.
That's right.
Mysteriously, when, and I'm from Mississippi, how do I know that 17 million was allocated to rebuild the levees in the first place, but only 9 million got spent? We'll leave that here. I'm not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the schools. But historically, I noticed that they were trying to change the narrative about our people. That is the same thing that they are doing in our schools. So when I was overseas and I saw them making us look like savage niggas, I couldn't sleep at night. And there was nothing that anybody could have done to make me continue sending the image of our people to hell. So a lot of people said, well, this David Banner still rap. Can I show you the kind of rap I do now? You sure? They gave us Obama like it was gonna stop the fight, like it was gonna stop the cause. My folks still scraping, trying to find them some socks and drawers and something to eat. The IRS is coming, so I'm back on these beats. Barack pushed hope, and I really think that's the only thing he pushed. If you can name one thing on a sheet of paper that Barack Obama did for black people, if you look historically, again, because I try to stay within the realm of facts, Jewish people, and I have no problem with this, were given $12 million of reparations for the Holocaust, and America had nothing to do with the Holocaust, and Obama did that for Jewish people and did nothing for slaves. Just don't leave that there. Barack pushed hope. Reagan pushed dope. Clinton pushed something down the young gals. And since we talk about pros, white folks, what you know about ropes? White folks, what you know about trees? And men swinging from them that look like me. How you say that don't affect us? Tuskegee, how you let them infect us? It's fear of the black seamen putting sage on the page to eradicate these demons. This for Tulsa, Oklahoma, this for Rosewood. This for Philly when the cops bombed the whole hood. This for Harlem when the pigs stopped and frisked all the folks from the Congo Hotel, Belgium. The funny thing is, as we get back to education, they say that the first bomb that was dropped on American soil was dropped where? Huh? They don't say that. Man, you didn't talk about this already. Of course, somewhere, let it run. What did they say the first bomb? In school, I should say. In school. Where? Pearl Harbor. That's a lot. You know the first bomb was dropped? In Tulsa, Oklahoma, on black folks. You know when they say black folks don't never do nothing? They never get on their own feet. Every time we get on their feet, you drop a bomb. Or stick the feds on us. CIA cracking America. But so for me, I want y'all to see where I am. But the thing and the reason why I went this route is black folks have said, well, David Banner, why are you not on the radio? Why would they put me on the radio? That does not make sense. Even in the schools that we are in right now, they teach us nothing about us being who we are and where we came from. I walk into schools all the time. Did you all even know this? That black people existed over 100,000 years before the first white G. So when we talk even about the Bible, Chris Rock said something that was so powerful. He said, for black people to believe 100% in the Bible means that we have a short memory. Because we existed over 100,000 years even before that text. So what are they teaching you? And do you know, from a scientific standpoint, when a child looks at a picture and he doesn't see him or herself, they lose 70% interest in that photo. You know that, did you? And the next thing they do is what? Look for something that looks like them. So even before we talk about the school to prison pipeline, we also have to think about the things that they're teaching you. And let's go back to Jewish people really, really quick. Would Jewish people allow Nazis to teach their children? They would not. That was one of the things that I woke up to say this morning. Like, I was gonna come here with a completely different narrative before until I met the people who put all this together. I was really gonna come here and say, black folks, if y'all really want freedom, get your own stuff. It ain't gonna come unless you get your own schools. Why would you expect, if white folks kill innocent black and women, children, and men, why would you go call their uncle and expect to get justice? It's not gonna come until you get your own. But I'm gonna dial it back a little bit, because I'm gonna say some other things. But how many Christians we got in here? Raise your hand. Come on, don't be scared. You're in the church. Be proud. Rep your God, man. Come on, put it up. Good one. So I want to say this to the Christians. And this, I think, will be the synthesis of my whole presentation. I have this saying, and it is in no disrespect, that Jesus is not coming back, Obama is not going to help you, and your favorite rapper doesn't care. Let me leave that there for a minute. Because I like the Christians get mad. I'm going to bring it back though. Let me tell you what I think the story of Jesus is about. The story of Jesus is about you knowing that it's possible for you to be God on earth. See, the problem with Jesus and all of your leaders, and one of the reasons why I tell people I don't want to be your leader, because look at what y'all do to your leaders. You ain't do nothing for Pop, you ain't do nothing for Biggie, Malcolm, Martin, Trayvon. Name anybody. Name one person that has ever done something for us that was tragically killed that black folks stayed down for. Not one person. I went on CNN, I said, what the hell y'all want me to say that I didn't say for Mike Brown? And then y'all don't want to listen unless Eminem raps about it. I've been rapping it. I said the same verse in 2014, and black folks thought I was crazy. I'm just being real. But back to Jesus. See, the problem is people want Jesus to save them. But what Jesus was showing you, and y'all said I can say ass, if your black ass fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, you might walk on water too. If you got somewhere and fasted, prayed, meditated, be still, that's one of my biggest things. We pray all day, but we never sit back and listen. So what are you going to do? We want someone else from outside of our community to come and save us. That is not going to happen. I am here to motivate you. I'm going home tomorrow. But the thing is, we look at these Jesus complex. We look at all these people. Me and one of the most beautiful women I've ever met in my life, she told me that there's going to be this exodus. And we ended up meeting halfway. I told her I don't think that that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a small group of people And I think the small group of people is in this room right now. Come on now. You're looking at the people. We always looking for somebody else to come from out the sky. They not coming. And if Jesus is gonna come back, he don't need to come back now. We messed up. I told the young brothers in the back, I said that God is just like a car. Sister, what's your name? Jean. Hey Jean, how you doing? You're so beautiful. Like that. You scrolled on this picture. I said, oh, that's all right. But if you gave me a car, right? You was gone for 10 years, right? When you come back, you want what? You want your damn car, right? And you cool with like 10 years of wear and tear, right? Black folks, God gave you this earth. Yes, sir. Yeah. And you lost all control of it. As a matter of fact, bringing it back to your schools, you don't even have a say-so in what your children are being taught or the way that they are being treated. It is your responsibility. I have a teacher, she teaches in Harlem. She calls me every week, she's a vice principal, nearly in tears. She called me 2 days ago, a black man was breaking up a fight, and you know, when we men, so we gotta add a little bit of extra, like black men separate, So the little boy fell and got embarrassed in front of his friends. So his parents came up and just had this big to do, and even his parents know that he's a problem. But they're going through with the process. A black male math teacher is about to get fired over some bull. And the thing that I want to tell y'all about these rules that they implement on you, it's crazy that they implement the rules, but in most cases, black people are the ones that are enforcing them. Black and brown people against black and brown children. So watch this. Y'all know how we got them? Let me see this. You know how we got them cops on video and we still don't get no damn justice? I think we should be the same damn way. If we in the court system and a black man done done something or a brown man done something and he ain't hurt nobody in our community, I just don't got enough information for me. It's compelling information, but no. The same way in our school system. If we are the ones who are implementing the rules, then it's our responsibility to go through with them or not. And I'm not saying that people do wrong, but most of these rules that are implemented against our children don't have nothing to do with the betterment of our children. We call it the school to prison pipeline for a reason. But this is the problem for the white people in the room. White supremacy, this is the problem that I have with white supremacy. This is the problem I have with white supremacy. Is you have the ability to say, it's not that bad. Or you have the ability to say, that's not happening. Watch this. I say that Donald Trump is one of the best things that has ever happened to black people in recent history. I will tell you why. Hold on, mama. Let me ask you a question. Look at me, sweetie. Have I ever not brought it back? I scared you when I talk about Jesus. And if I can bring Jesus back, you know I can bring this Donald Trump. See, y'all work with me. I'm coming now. Watch this. Watch it. I'm going to talk to you. When the last time you've seen black people disengaged in the political process a week? A week. When the last time have you seen black people this mad about anything? As a matter of fact, let's look at the NFL. Most of them Negroes didn't give a damn about black kids dying. They didn't take a knee until they got mad at Donald Trump. So sometimes we have to use the worst things against us because our people have been through so much. Even to black people, a black person dying, or black men and women getting sent to jail, or brown men and women getting sent to jail, don't even affect us. The other thing that happens is it takes away the white liberals' excuse that it's post-racial. We've been saying, like I told y'all when I went on CNN, I said, what else do you want me to say that we haven't always been saying? But the truth is, it's time to stop talking. What are you willing to do? And for you rich Negroes, one of the problems is our children are not worth your money. They are not worth your money. Even notice when they were doing the thing with the football, with the NFL, basically they were saying everything meant more than innocent black men, women, and children dying. The flag, the veterans, which was crazy is America treats their veterans, and there are people who come back to war worse than anybody, well, not worse than black folks, but you get my point. You get my point. But everything meant more, and nobody ever talked about what black and brown people are going through in America. Nobody ever talked about that, and nobody ever will, until it means something to you. Until you're willing to give up your paycheck, because I know if you won't give up your paycheck, you won't give up your life. And I'll show you about us on the streets that hustle. I mean, this is even before I get to education. If you step on a black man's J's, and I got on a pair of J's right now, I'm gonna do something. Well, not no more, because I don't care nothing about it. Plus, I don't care too much about who talking today. Or somebody gonna bring me a dope bag. You kill them. But when it comes to our children, the education of our children, the protection of our children, that was one of the things that I have to applaud the brothers here. When I walked into the building, they had the young brothers on point too. How you doing, Mr. Bell? I was like, peace, black man. It was like I'm really excited, but it gotta be hard right now. I was like, that's all right, brother. That's all right, be hard. We're wrapping it back, dog. But listen, the reason why I'm able to talk to you all about this is because I was willing to give up my career. Like y'all, I make hits. I produced Chris Brown. I got my Grammy. Matter of fact, I got my Grammy from New Orleans. I got my Grammy from the Carter 3. I got my Carter from Lil Wayne. I produced that. I'm one of the rappers who did most of the stuff I talk about. So I could get away with it. But at some point, we have to be willing to sacrifice. We always talk about Jesus again, but you're gonna go back to Jesus. We always talk about that cross. But when it's time for your black ass to get up there, oh no, I think Jesus took care of that for all of us. Oh, Lord, lay it on. But we are not willing to get on the cross for our children.
Come on now.
They are sending our children to prison for nothing. And then, hold on, I wasn't even gonna talk about this. Then they fill them full of sugar and salt and wonder why they can't sit their ass down. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, I meditate. I'm talking to the teachers now. I'm gonna show you how much malarkey is in the building. I know for a fact that unless you meditate, that you can't sit still for longer than 2 minutes. I know that for a fact. You might keep your mouth shut, but you can't sit without wiggling your fingers, shaking your leg. I know, because I do meditation for a living now. That's the reason why a lot of people still living, because of meditation. And I hum and let them go. But listen, seriously, what are we prepared to do? What are we prepared to let go? One of the things that I spoke to the young men about in the back that black people must understand is that white supremacy pays. See, if you think about even the cops, white people, even the cops who kill innocent black men, women, and children, and you see the video that they were wrong. Have you ever went and looked at their crowdfunding pages? $350 to $1 million each. They get rewarded for killing black folks, even when white folks know that they're wrong. I give white folks something, I give this, and they're gonna stick together. Let me tell you, I got this song called Elvis, and the song goes like this. M say, "Hear God," Molly out here twerking. I walked the Def Jam when no black folks working. Soul is rocking big. Adele's that too. Justin Timberlake is what Usher's supposed to do. And that's Elvis. Elvis is just like Elvis. They took our music, now our culture. I'm asking God to help us. Elvis. So I shot a video, and the video was so dope. It had no black folks in it. It was all white folks. You know, doing all our moves. You know what I'm talking, cooking, whole nine, and jamming too. But they was all singing all my verses and everything. And at the end of the video, you had black folks in a sunken place. They couldn't move. And they was watching their culture being taken away from them, just like gentrification, just like y'all neighborhoods after Katrina, just like Houston, just like, I can't say the word, sorry. Just like, maybe I want to name some more places? Harlem, Brooklyn. Okay, so we're in some DC. DC was actually the first city they started on. People didn't know that DC is Chicago. But guess what? White folks said, we love you, David Bell, and we know what you're saying is the truth. We're not gonna be in that video. And I was like, give you 1,000, 2,000. I was like, no. And people thought I was gonna be mad. And I said, I respect that. They supposed to hold their folks down. Wasn't right or wrong. And I tell people that all the time. I have a problem with white supremacy, not racism. You wanna know why? Because white folks are supposed to take care of their children first. They're supposed to put their children before your children. No lions put lions before tigers, tigers put tigers before lions. I don't have a problem with white people's racism. I have a problem with black and brown people's lack of racism and loving themselves. If you kill a Russian, who come into your neighborhood? A Russian. You kill an Asian, who come? I'm talking about Yakuza. They gonna come through popping and locking with guns, bow. They gonna drift into your parking spot, bow. It's no different than you waiting on someone to change the situations in your city. We will kill you. Have a good day. Close the door. Our children are waiting on our parents. When I was in Ferguson, the one thing that those children asked me, those children were from 16 to 26. They were like, our parents come out here while the sun is up and while CNN is here. As soon as CNN left, our parents left. They had never seen tanks before. They actually learned all this stuff. They were building bricks, but they learned that from freedom fighters all over the world that was talking to them over Instagram. Like literally taught them how when they got the mace spray, taught them about the milk and the tear gas and all that kind of stuff. They had other people's children teaching them how to be in urban war. But our parents left them. They always say that these children are a lost generation. That's not true. They are just not interested in your lives. My ex-girlfriend, I just broke up with my ex-girlfriend. This is perfect. It's perfect. One of the reasons why she broke up with me, when we broke up, I broke up with her and then I begged for her to come back. She told me no. Y'all know the main reason why I told her? I told her, I said, because my child is not going to any form of religious service until after they're 10 years old. She said, why? I said, I want my child to develop their own sense of truth. Because I don't know if what I know is the truth. Black people, we sit around here and we talk to people like we have seen God ourselves, and we have not. We have not. What you believe in is what you believe in, but we have to be careful with all of the lies and all the muck that we dump on these children. And since we were not that way, now they don't care. Now these kids don't want to hear, well, you probably would have got them to come to church. Now they don't want to hear it at all. They don't want to hear anything but the truth. Show me some food. Give you a quick example. Let me bring this back to education. Do y'all know why the Black Panthers were why they were so very successful in the beginning? It's because they fed people. The WIC program was actually designed by the Black Panthers. And they took care of people's children while they went to work. So we have to find some way to show some success as it pertains to these children. That's what I think when I go speak at these high schools, a lot of the teachers get mad at me because I always ask the teachers, If you had a chance to sell dope or work at McDonald's, which one would you do? You know the teachers, oh, we're hoping down with dope. I was definitely going to McDonald's. I said, you're a damn lie, and that's why these kids don't listen to you. It is about survival. And these children